Topic number 3 comes from patreon.com/kindafunnygames. This is from David Ing. He supports us there enough to get his topic read automatically on the show. And David's topic is this.
Oh, Jesus.
We got to meet Greg and Christine at San Diego Comic-Con last year and chatted with them a little bit about our video game wedding and reception. My wife manually did up amazing 8-bit art invitations. The wedding ceremony ended up relatively standard fare, just with procession music from Journey, Zelda, and Uncharted. But for our reception, we decorated the hall and desserts with video game characters. We managed to get Mark Meir to do our introductions as Commander Shepard, got a bunch of old school arcade machines and arcades, and had 2 massive Mario Kart and Street Fighter grand tournaments. Winners won a single 5-pound gummy bear and instant diabetes. We were so happy to see everybody, young and old, having such a great time playing video games. My question is this. Would you guys have any video games at your wedding? What do you think about such themed weddings? Video game themed weddings.
Video game themed weddings. I mean, this reminds me a lot of the name topic that we did about video game names, right? Like
yeah. Where you're like, don't name your kid Khaleesi.
Just. And by the way, Harper Lee's book, the sequel to
Atticus?
To Kill a Mockingbird, is a
Did you
fucking...
read it?
No, I haven't read it.
Okay.
Great example. You know? Just throwing it out there. It's totally unrelated. Now,
Boo Bradley comes back and he's horrible.
Yeah, and he's Satan.
You want to name a kid Boo Bradley?
But
Boo Radley?
Is that from?
It's Boo Radley, right? Not Bradley. Boo Radley.
Radley, I think. Yeah. But what you're saying reminds me of Mr. Deeds as well. With
how does it always come back to Mr. Deeds?
Yeah, it always comes back to Mr. Deeds because when he goes back to the town, like she says that the guy's name I think is I don't know. Dr. Pepper and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, what an awful movie. It's so distracting to me right now. This is the thing where it's like it's not for me, but if that's what you want to do, then
sure.
More power to you. I personally wouldn't do something like that, but it's not to disparage game music or games at all. I mean, we love and live and breathe games. It's just like I think that for me, not that I assume I might not ever get married, but it should be more about the couple and more about the family and the celebration and a sort of
but if they're both gamers,
way.
If they're both gamers,
but I feel like it isolates people that aren't.
Sure,
gamers.
fuck them.
But that could be like almost everyone at your wedding. I mean, even think about you got married one day, right?
Yeah.
And assume the woman you got married is a gamer, right? But still think about all the people that would come to your wedding that weren't gamers, and assume that if you had a wedding themed on, whatever fucking nerdy shit you like at that point.
Right. Here's what's interesting about it is I think it's interesting to see him and both you as you talk about it trying to merge video games with the traditional wedding. Whereas I think if you're gonna go balls out enough that you're gonna have this video game reception and music, and it's gotta be like, do you really want the normal wedding? Like to try to merge in the dresses and the tuxes and that shit to then fit into having a shine behind you and Master Chief.
So you say like you would just go full bore.
Well, I mean, my whole thing is like do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong. I think a reception with arcade cabinet sounds awesome. You know what I mean? I think
having that option is cool. I'm just saying like I don't need to come down the aisle as Link or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I think
in like a green tunic.
The weddings that stand out to me are the ones that are specific to the person, that they're doing something cool that is them. You know what I mean? And like it can totally be something that doesn't speak to me in terms of what they are. But when you go to a wedding and it is just another wedding in a church, reception at the hotel or whatever, you know what I mean? Like in the DJ is playing fucking YMCA and all that shit, and you're doing the electric slide. It's like, well, this is like every other weird ass wedding you've ever been to. Sure. I like going to the weddings that have the unique pieces to them.
Sure, but and I agree. I don't disagree with you. My whole thing with this gentleman's question is do whatever you want.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like if that's what makes you happy, and that's fun. I'm not judging you. I mean, do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
What I'm just thinking about is like, weddings are almost more about, and I hate to say it, but it's true. It just seems like it's more about everyone else. Like the ceremony's about the wedding, but when you go to the reception, which is really the wedding. Yeah. To a lot of people, I mean, that's what you're really going to. Yeah. It's about like everyone's enjoyment. You don't want to have like food that's too weird, or you don't want to have like. I was thinking about Nate Ahern's wedding. We went to that in outside of Philadelphia,
which was unique and had specific moments. And I was like, oh, this is a cool wedding.
Well, what was so cool about it? There was a lot that was cool about it. It was outside. It was very a fusion of kind of like Nate's kind of a a white guy and his wife's an Indian girl, and so they fuse those two kind of.
He's not kind of a white guy. Nate is the most white guy.
Yeah, he is he is the white guy. But they fuse like some Irish traditions with some Indian traditions together in a very pleasant way, in a very accessible way. Then the food at the reception and the drinks were they had like food trucks with Philly cheesesteaks and tacos and all that stuff. Then they had like traditional Indian food. In other words, it catered to like everybody.
Yeah.
And made everyone feel comfortable.
Yeah.
My buddy Mike Pope's getting married, and I got to go back to the island for it in just a few weeks, and he's having like kind of more of a woodland themed kind of like wedding because he's like really into like Lord of the Rings and all these kinds of things. He's always been into that kind of stuff. But again, it's like agnostic, and I hate using that word again in the sense that it's like not Lord of the Rings. It's not, The Witcher. It's just like, let's wear like some fucking leather armor for a little while and, and fuck around as if we're in like, a fantasy setting. So I like the more like.
Are you doing this? Did you already buy? Are you wearing the army set?
No. He's like he's doing some. I don't even know exactly what he's doing. But like his whole thing is like, they have like a big bonfire and they want like someone to shoot an arrow into it to like light it up and stuff. Yeah. And like
Mike Pope hit me up. I want to go.
But like to me, like that's a themed wedding, but it's not an like you have to understand anything. If you've seen anything fantasy based ever, then you understand it. It's the same thing with Nate's.
But like that's the thing.
So I'm just saying that's my stance. I wouldn't be opposed to attending or enjoying a wedding that was based on something that I didn't understand. I'm just saying that in terms of practicality, pragmatism.
Here's my thing is about I think what you're saying about like, oh, this is just the theme of it, you get it and you don't, is that it can be applied here, right? Like the music is Journey, Zelda, and Uncharted, so it's instrumental stuff. It's just awesome music. Maybe you don't know it, but who cares? You know what I mean?
Now, can you was the music played? That music played at the ceremony?
Procession music, it says.
The procession music.
Yeah. So
they walked down the aisle to Uncharted.
When they put the ring on, they did the didgeridoo like he died, and then so they went nay.
That's nerdy. I like that. That's funny.
And then the desserts are video game characters. I mean, I don't know. Okay, whatever. Cool. And like so Commander Shepard does the announcements. I doubt it was I'm Commander Shepard, and these are my favorite wedding people on the Citadel. Right? It's just their voice. And then they have the cabinets. I went to a wedding for my friend Blair and Casey, right? And they had a video game area. Right, and they was like spread out all over the place, and it wasn't like video game shit was all over the place. Don't get me wrong. It was like they had the one arcade area where it's like, oh, go hang out there and have a beer and play these games, and they had everything and like all these different things, games that mattered to them that you played. But it wasn't like grandma wasn't forced to go in there and see what the fuck was up.
And I think as with most things, I'm probably way over analyzing it. I'm just trying to think about people's enjoyment and understanding of what's going on.
Sure.
It's relevant. I don't know. Maybe it's not the most important thing. You're paying for the fucking weddings. I mean, if you want to have a fucking straight up wedding based on World 3 and Super Mario 3 or something, more power to you. I'm just saying, like, you got to think about everyone else that you're inviting, and are they going to enjoy it? Are they going to understand it? Are they going to be in on the joke or be in on the fun?
Yeah.
I think those are, salient points to be made. But, more power to you. I mean, do what you want.
You know how you were talking about Mario right there, world, whatever. This is a conversation we haven't had together, and I don't know if you know it because I didn't know. Have you ever seen that viral video of the at a talent show, the Mario thing, where they like the kids do it and he's like jump? It's like set to music and they're doing all the sound effects and stuff. It's one guy is Mario walking and he's like jumps up and he's tapping the coins. Really?
No, I don't think
this was huge years back, like huge. I remember watching this and being like, this is amazing.
Probably maybe at one point.
That's Tim. Like, I mean, I know since you don't have a real anchor to it for the kids watching, that's Tim. He dropped that in the conversation the other day, and I was like, what? And I'm like, and I pulled it up. I'm like, and he's like, yeah, I'm like, what? How the fuck do I not know this about you?
Oh, so that is literally Tim.
It's literally Tim. Like that's him doing it. And all his dumb friends in high school. And I remember watching that. It feels like a decade ago, probably a little bit less, but it was just like, what? Like, what? Like, that blew my mind. Blew my mind the other day.
Interesting.